twist.
Hello,
Hello, hello.
how's everybody doing? You won't see it there, I'll see it here.
Okay.
We are live from the back porch. We're decided we do it outside. It's a nice night. And we had weird issues with the cameras, like not the way we normally do things. It's got us like squared up like the old 4x3 TV, I think it is. But that is us, which is not the normal wide thing, so it's gonna look a little different. Hope everybody's doing all right.
Hello, Rhonda. Can you hear us fine?
I'm hoping so.
Howdy, howdy, North Carolina. Who is your favorite son?
Trevor, of course.
Trevor. Uh, my other favorite son was here earlier. Hello, Louisville, Kentucky. Hi, Jessica. I'm hoping you guys can all hear us. Everybody's saying hi. Oh, there we go. Perfect, perfect.
I was just gonna message Rhonda and ask her. Got junk in our trunk. Oh, look, I was getting ready to message her, and I got a text that says want to play golf this weekend. So y'all know this is like pig butchering or hog slaughtering or something like that. Don't respond to those messages, or don't send them anything. They try to get you into a crypto scam, so don't do that.
Hello, Christy from Florida.
And Miriam won one of the free months of my reseller Genie
Oh
recently.
no.
Back when we were doing that February, March, and April. Eastern
Hi
Mass.
to Special K. Thanks for watching.
Oh yes, hi Special K. Appreciate you watching us.
Hi, Karen from Rochester.
We're going to be up there later this year.
Yep.
Going to stop by and see Trevor and his family.
Hit the bins, of course.
You're going to make Trevor feel bad like the bins are the only reason you're going there.
He already claims it's the only reason I go up there. Hello, Miss Shaney. Oklahoma. Man, we've got people from everywhere. Indiana,
Hmm.
Oklahoma, New York, Arizona.
Hope y'all are having the nice weather we're having.
Oh, it's beautiful here.
Rebel thinks she's going to get cold out here after
Yeah,
a while.
I put a jacket on already. Oop, I forgot a blanket though. Yep, yep,
We had some questions.
yep. Throw the questions at us.
Yes, if you got the questions, let us know. We got some here that came from our last video.
Yep.
And if you'd like a phone number to spam, I could give that to you.
We get lots of them. Okay, quick question here. Do you all have a LLC set up? No, we don't. No, we're just sole proprietor. Robert's sick, y'all. So if you hear him coughing,
Maybe with these allergies, sitting outside wasn't the best idea. But so, Chauncey, I'm assuming that's how you say that. An LLC, some people do an LLC. It can give you, as they say, it can split your. Um, for us, it doesn't do us any good, really. The one thing it would do for us is that if you were to get sued in your business, it separates your business and your personal assets. So theoretically, if something happened with our business and somebody sued us, then they could sue our personal assets and try to take away our house, our car, and that sort of thing. With an LLC, as long as you keep everything split apart, separate bank accounts, separate debit, credit cards, separate everything, and you treat it like a separate thing that's completely separate from your personal life, then that can protect your personal assets in some sort of lawsuit like that. But here in Tennessee, it's a minimum of $300 a year for that sort of thing. And sometimes it's not worth the hassle. Plus, there's more paperwork with it.
more paperwork. All right, and then Christy, Robert, this one's at you. Did you ever calculate how many sales from last year were bread and butter? Did we?
No, but I could have.
Yes, we need to do that.
In the next, I can't say the next video, but if I could just disappear and leave this to you, I'd go figure it out real quick.
No, 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 no,
But
no.
you know what? Here's a real quick thing. Um, no, that was pounds. Two-thirds of our sales were 1 pound or less. Does that help? Probably not.
Did you ever sell anything on Facebook Marketplace? When it first started and we started listing stuff on Facebook Marketplace, it was amazing. We sold, I mean, I was listing stuff and selling them almost immediately. Could not keep up with it. And then something happened and the sales just stopped.
They changed the way they were doing views or something, and it just literally just died. We weren't getting anything. We didn't have nearly as many listings on Marketplace as we had on Facebook. But I remember Rebel telling me back then that if this continued the way it was, if she got everything on there, we would sell more on Facebook Marketplace than we did on eBay, which would be awesome. And people are saying they're getting sales on there now. So maybe it's something we need to revisit is start putting some on there.
Maybe, maybe, but I don't think they do shipping anymore.
I think they do, don't they?
No, I think I've read posts recently where they took that away and you can still do it, but you can't buy a label through them anymore. You have
Oh,
to buy your own
sorry, we
labels.
can still do it. We'll go through
Oh,
pirate ship.
maybe. Okay. Sidgy Kid. All right. Heather said she found a new brand called Sidgy Kid from Germany. Yeah, anytime I find anything that's Germany, Italy, um, especially West Germany, I love picking up those plush because they tend to do very, very well for me. She sold hers for 69.99. I'll have to definitely keep an eye out for that.
Hello, Joanna. I know we're missing names as they pop in here.
Yep.
Oh, hope you got some good deals on those lurking K-Row on the plush and dolls today. This has been the year of dolls for Rebel buying stuff because
Yes.
it's a lot of nice higher end dolls. And we sold another Sasha
Sasha
doll
doll
shipped
today.
out today. Not the expensive one, but one of the less exposed, 120 or something.
120 offer. Oh,
Mm.
that's two Sasha dolls out of 18 that are gone. What is our new air pillow machine?
It is print. It's
We are,
PP, print PPE.
yeah, we're
Print
loving it. It's
it's
very
print finish, I
fast.
think. Print finish is what it was. In fact, I will go on to Amazon real quick and I will look the order up and tell you exactly. Print finish. The other one, it worked and it eventually died. And I don't know if maybe I did something to it or it just
Just
we used it a lot. I don't know. But the new one is so fast. The other one I had to like take it out, let it warm up for 5 minutes, and then eventually I had to let it warm up for 10 minutes and still have it's like a third of the air pillows weren't staying inflated. This new one, I just leave it loaded and I just turn it on, hit go, and it spits out
a
a
bunch.
tote of them in like a couple minutes, and then I put it away. And I don't even bother trying to make 2 or 3 totes at a time anymore. I just print them or print them like it's a
Print
3D
it.
printer. I just fill them up as I need them pretty much.
Yeah.
When the tote gets empty, I make a new tote.
All right. And then Mike is asking, why do you sell similar 400 items per day? Because I have 11,000 some odd listings and I want to end and sell similar of all of my listings. So I don't pay attention to when they're ending. I just do the 400 that are just about to end. So I'm usually a day or two ahead. But if I do 400 a day, then I'll get through all of my listings for the month. So that's the reason. Hello from Buffalo.
And eBay said a couple years back at one of their eBay opens or big meetings like that, somebody asked, "Does listing every day help you in the algorithm?" And eBay said no, but all the resellers that we hear about, basically all of them say listing every day makes a difference in their sales. And eBay said ending in sell similar will increase your sales because it keeps them fresher in the algorithm. They're not stale essentially because the way I understood somebody explained it was this thing's been out there for 6 months and nobody's bought it. So if they're searching for your item and my item and mine has been sitting out there for 6 months, they're probably going to show your newer item first because it's been listed for 2 weeks over mine because buyers have already shown that they don't want mine. They're probably more likely to buy yours. So you'll be rated higher in the search results. So that's why they were saying that, or that was our understanding of why they were saying that ending and selling similar was good for improving your ranking in the algorithm.
Yes, and I just set up my screen to do 200 listings at a time, so I just have to do it twice. So that's why it's 400.
All right, so here is the air pillow machine. We have a a very long delay on here from when we talk and it does something. The brand is PPE Super Fast Air Cushion Machine. The PPE is the brand. And I hope you all are seeing that because it's going to take a minute for it to actually show up on our screen over here because of the delay.
And Christy's asking, do you know how much it is per pillow?
Per pillow.
I don't know if we've done it with the new machine.
I haven't done the calculation. I did buy um um a, a roll of the air pillows with it, and of course it's telling me 1,640 feet of air
Air
pillows.
pillows.
There are, I don't know the number, sorry. I haven't done the math on those. It used to be with the air defenders we were buying from Amazon, they were about, the last time I bought them, about a penny and a half per air pillow. And I think to buy filled air pillows from Amazon from of the same brand was about 10 or 11 cents on an air pillow. So it was significantly cheaper.
Yep. All right. With the quantity that you purchase, are you able to keep up with listing it all, or do you have a money pile? If you don't, how many listings do you average per day? You know, I had an extensive profit pile, and this summer when we started moving most of my eBay stuff to the building, I got to the point where I was looking at this stuff that I hadn't listed in years, and I went ahead and cleared out a lot of it out of my inventory. We had somebody come and take like 3 truckloads of stuff away for us,
And by truckload, she means like a
like a pickup truck.
yeah, like a Nissan Frontier is what they had.
Yeah. And for right now, am I keeping up with it? Not completely, but it's not really going on shelves either. It's just taking me a little bit longer. Um, but I've tried to process anywhere between 30 and 40 items a day, sometimes more, sometimes less, and I try to list about 20 a day. But I do my work in batches. So I take my pictures in bulk, and I do a little spreadsheet to tell me what I'm, going to be listing. And then usually I'll list the next 20 items the next morning. And right now I'm kind of splitting it between clothes and stuff. But I'm spending a lot more time over there now that we've kind of got processes down and the area is, comfortable. And the only problem we're having right now is internet. So we're still working on that. But yeah, it's starting to get a whole lot easier. It's just whether I want to work or not is probably the big problem. Sometimes I just, you know, less work, more play, right?
Let's see. Sandy Ready Steady Sales is looking to get kicked from the chat because she's asking about your dang wall. So not
It's
yet.
it's it's yeah, there's been a lot of things going on in the background here, and I like to harass him, but he's really not had time to work on it yet. But hopefully in the next couple of weeks, because we haven't even finished moving everything over there. I still have canning jars and camping stuff are still back in the corner, and I've still got stuff down in the basement that needs to go over there. So hopefully soon we'll get it all together.
Appreciate the trouble, Sandy. But yeah, it's like today. RJ had to take the Stanford 10 test for our umbrella school. So I had to sit in the living room for 3 hours. I worked on finish up
Videos
some
and
homeschool stuff and copying video stuff over and just always, always doing something. I got a shower problem I got to fix. I got another shower problem I got to fix that's downstairs. And we're going to be going to Florida and it's just, are we going to? No, we haven't even decided that yet.
we haven't
We
even
thought about
decided.
it. That
Yeah,
was in the plans. Then we had to cancel going to see Trevor's graduation, which is kind of a
next
bummer.
week.
Yeah, it was next
Yeah,
week. We just weren't able to pull that off. I got to go to Missouri at some point to pick up stuff from somebody there, and we just have too many things going
we've
on.
got a lot.
There we go. Coming soon.
Yes, Trevor is at the top. Well, we've got two actually graduating. My son Trevor is graduating with his master's degree. He's the one from Rochester. And then RJ, though, is a junior this year, so he'll be a senior next year. So, yeah, we've got two different levels going here. Wait, let me
Hello,
see.
Pamela. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Melissa. She said she's popping in, said she's got to go watch a baseball game tonight.
I'm Elisa. We met up with her and her husband at the Nashville reseller meetup. Okay, let's see what else. Hello from Closet 12. Well, thank you for watching. I'm just catching up with some of the comments.
Let's see. Clean Out Deals says they were told not to end and sell similar because it will remove your items from the Google search. It takes a month for eBay shows your items on Google. Our sales
It,
have increased since we started doing that.
yeah,
You know, I don't know what it would be now. I would hate to do a test and not do it because once we started doing it, our sales increased back then.
yep. And it's pretty big, other than the lulls and ebbs and flows of eBay, they've been, pretty good. So, I would, I'm almost afraid to stop doing what I'm doing because it just seems like anytime you change something, you do something different, you get spanked a little by eBay. So, that I run the same sales. I do the same end and sell similars. I run, I try to keep everything consistent so that eBay just sees me as a consistent person.
Hello, Bluebell and Chatty Jessie from Knoxville. She's got the very profitable America's thrift there now that
Yeah,
with all the expensive clothes and stuff. We bought a few. You bought some toys there, but the
I bought
clothes
like two things there, I
maybe
think.
maybe you could find some higher end stuff there at the prices are and do well with it, but not the stuff we were seeing.
If we were up in Knoxville, which we've thought about starting to do some yard sales and stuff up there, it was kind of nice going to a larger area like Nashville, and being able to do subdivision sales and have more sales because y'all, it's been pitiful here. So we've thought about going to Knoxville. It's like an hour and a half drive for us. And then maybe I would hit some of their thrift stores, but we've never been happy with the thrift stores, any of them around here,
We
really.
used to go to the was it the AmVets and do we
Ambets
used to go down there sometimes and we'd go to the AmVets and do okay some but not a lot.
and not the
Just a little
Carms either. The Carms were
no.
terrible.
Black Sabbath 76. Glad you enjoy the music. I like putting it in there. My brain's always thinking about some song to go along with something, even though I have zero musical talent other than remembering
He
the
knows
songs and the words.
every word to most songs.
Have you ever sold Weatherly China by Linux?
No, we've sold Linux, but not the Weatherly China. There's some Linux does very, very well. What was the one we had? I can't even remember now. Everyone's, I still probably have a few pieces, but we sold a ton of it.
Hello, Basket Case Mama's Fab Finds. Christy, yeah, if we get to go to Florida, yeah, if we can go later this month, if we can pull that off, then it'll be theoretically before, or I guess technically before hurricane season. But I think hurricane season starts in June. So if we go after that, we just got to make sure there aren't any planned.
Yeah, that was crazy to leave our area that had just been hit by a hurricane and get down there and get hit with basically tornadoes.
Yeah, it was like tropical storm strength where we were. Hey,
Hmm.
but you know what? Shannon had running water, so that was good.
Yeah, we did it for what, a month or so.
Hello, Bella Pell Skincare. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, see,
Oh,
my friend Rhonda got junk in our trunk said she does end and sell similar every day, and she sees them in Google searches within an hour. So maybe that was true once upon a time. I don't know. I don't really go on Google very much to look for my stuff. Maybe I'll try that.
I know that when I'm doing comps like with a um, just searching or doing like the Google lens, I will find things through Google search that I can't find by searching on eBay. I'll type the
Mm,
same words into Google that I do eBay and I can't find it on eBay, but Google will take me to an active eBay listing. Let's see, Chatty Jesse, yeah. We were we were thinking of going there for the estate sales and yard sales on the weekends just to try it out because sometimes it's just not looking good up here. But this past weekend we actually looked pretty good, so we stayed here happily. Plus we had to be back for something. Oh, we had to be back for RJ's little brother's
birthday
birthday at his
party.
mom's house.
Yeah.
Couldn't miss the birthday party.
Do I send coupons to previous buyers and have your sales increased? I started with just putting a 10% coupon on my store. And I have seen quite a bit of sales. You know, when I do my what sold videos, I'm noticing more things are selling with just the 10% coupon than it seems me sending 10% offers or even 20% offers. So I'm going to test out sending a coupon to previous buyers and see how that works too. But I somebody had told me that it was working, that eBay was pushing coupons, and it seems to still be working. Hello,
So
Miss Lisa.
hopefully we're planning to be back in Missouri later this summer, and if we go there, we'll do our best to make it over to Jacksonville. I almost messed up, said Springfield
Springfield.
because of what you say all the time. Hopefully, we'll be able to catch you there.
Yep, yep.
Let's see. Fossil forward finds ends and sell similars. Not too many listens for that. Stop doing saved searches because end and sell similar cause my searches to get the same listings to hit my search daily. Yeah, that could mess you up.
Yeah, I don't do saved searches at all.
$6 ties in New Jersey. Phew.
Yeah, the prices are definitely up right now. Whether we're in thrift stores or we're at estate sales, the estate sale companies around here have started really jacking up the prices some.
That's what Chatty Jessie was. She only goes on the last day
Yep.
because we have one here that does used shoes for $18, and we're talking stuff that like Clark's that we will sell for 15 to 20 on eBay. They've got them priced at $8.
And I don't even want to buy them at the half price sale at
No,
$9. That's
no,
just no.
we usually buy them for 3 or 4 maybe. Sometimes we can get them for 2, but just depends on the yard sale.
Do you limit offers cause the lowball offers kill me? No, I don't.
They kill her though.
They kill me, yes. And you know what? Don't think some people don't get put on my block bidder list when they just, I've had a couple this month that sent me an offer and then I countered and they sent me a lower offer than the previous. Well, they're going on my block bidder list. It is extensive. It is extensive, but I don't I don't have it set where, it's an auto decline or anything. I'll look at it. I'll go into the comps and see, is it close? Is it close enough to go ahead and make it gone? Because something's just got to go. I looked just today, um, of my listings. We started putting a date code in our listings back in 2023. So everything that was listed before 2023, we've just got one code on them. And I've sold 400 of those items so far this year. I need to sell more than that because I have so much of that old inventory just sitting that
How many of those you got left even?
4,000.
4,000.
4,000 of my 11,000 are really, really old listings.
So we started with what, 9,000?
Yep.
In 2023, we started with 9,000. So you've sold 5,000
I've
of them
sold 5,000. Yeah.
in 2 years, which is
But
good.
I really need to get that old stuff gone. But I'm not just gonna pull it. I'll just keep lowering the price until I get it gone.
I will try to do better about remembering to send offers on those.
Yeah.
Hello, Gabby. Good to see you here. What is the most favorite item you've ever sold, or an item that you wouldn't part with?
Oh, I got plenty of them on my wall. Our favorite, I guess the high dollar one, the visually impaired thing probably was our favorite just because we don't get to sell $2,000 items.
Mm-mm.
We don't find that kind of stuff. So that was a favorite.
About regardless of price.
My
What's your
favorite
favorite thing to sell
to sell or I've sold.
that you've sold?
Probably those Boyd's Bears that time.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't really care for Boyd's Bears, but I found something. No, there was none like it on eBay. It was one of those uh QVC things that was Boyd's Bears, but it was a calendar. And I ended up putting it on an auction and it sold for quite a bit, but I think it was still one of my favorite finds because it got me looking at other plush.
let's see.
Can you wash the carnival
Oh,
style plush? Um, I would wash it by hand. I wouldn't soak it because a lot of them have, some of them have like,
Newspaper, essentially.
yeah, like fiber type stuff inside of them. But a lot of times, those are the types. First, I try not to buy them if they really have issues, but otherwise, the person buying it probably knows how to clean it better than I will.
Trevor said you sold your oldest to the military. That was probably your best sale, wasn't it?
Yeah, push it out the door. Push him out the door.
Let's see. Basket Case Mama says she's got 50 cent plush store, so that's a good store to have.
Oh, yeah, I would love that. My goodness.
Hello, Clean Out Deals. Yes, when we try to post when we're going to be at the bins in St. Louis. So next time we're there, uh, try to catch us and be nice to meet y'all.
Yeah, we do lunch. We try to do lunch with people, anybody who wants to when we're there also.
Yeah, it's usually we're downtown for the lunchtime, so we try to go over unless somebody wants something different. We go over to the
The
Foundry just
Foundry.
because it's a little expensive for us, but it has the variety, so people can get whatever they want there, so which is kind of nice.
All right. What items are you still hoping to find that you never have yet? I want to find one of the really cute Rushton rubber faced. I've found Rushton, but I've never found one of the rubber faced, the ducks and the rabbits and that's probably, and if I find it, I would have a hard time getting rid of it.
Joanna says she did the store coupon last week and best weekend ever. Good, good.
Very good.
Glad to hear it's working for you.
Yep. My friend Courtney up in Connecticut was the one that told me that she had heard that eBay was really pushing the coupons.
You promote your items for how much do you promote? You do
I
eight?
do 8. I have it set where it's that where it if it was less than 8, that's what it would be, but we all know at this point most of them are at least 8 if not way more.
You do trending
Yeah, the
with a cap of eight,
trending, I think it's called another word now, but I forgot.
suggested.
Not even that. Dynamic. Dynamic, I think is what I have. And at 8%.
Have you sold much jewelry in your career? Not
No,
lots.
no. And I actually have a bag of like, what is that kind? Just regular jewelry that I keep thinking I'm going to go ahead and list, and I haven't yet.
Vintage foot pom Christmas tree. Is that one of those metal ones?
Yeah,
Ooh, those are nice.
those are nice. My friend Courtney that lives here just got a one of the aluminum trees. I don't know if it was a pom pom or not. Now I have found a pom pom Christmas tree before, but it was just the branches. It was nothing else, and I ended up selling it for good money.
Rushton duck.
Yes.
Dang, $1,500. That's a killer
See,
deal there.
yeah. Now, if it was worth that much, I'd be definitely selling it.
Well, not even a year before things went badly with my face.
Yes. For those
Yes,
who are kind of new to us, Robert, once upon a time, had a short stint as a rodeo clown.
it was it was fun, but it was painful at the end. Broke the nose, got had stitches. I got stitches in this eyelid because it got torn, and
And
it was.
his mama made him promise to quit.
But I tell her this. She had a spot on her cheek because my family has always been out in the sun forever, and skin cancer is like a family gift we pass around in our family. And she went over for the surgery, and the doctor was an he was an ENT doctor, but we were doing the surgery at the cancer center. I get that
For his nose
for
when
my
he got
nose, and he looked at her and said, when he comes back in 2 weeks for his checkup, you're coming back so I could check that spot on your face. And it was skin cancer, and she has to go back for, I think, to a different doctor now, but for regular checkups. Otherwise, I get to go back to be a rodeo clown if she doesn't stay
keep
on
up
top of
with
her, if
it.
she doesn't keep up with her checkups.
Uh, okay, let's see. Yeah, jewelry. Jewelry just isn't my thing. It just, I don't think it ever will be. But I've picked it up when it's been really good things. But usually, if I'm looking at jewelry, I'm looking for like silver earrings for myself. That's usually what I'm looking for.
Store service level. Ours, we have the,
Yeah, the anchor store. So I have concierge phone service.
but it hasn't provided, it hasn't been worth it for this year.
No, it hasn't. I've my friend Beth, who's here in the chat, she's had better luck with just regular customer service dealing with some of her issues than I've had with the concierge customer service. They have not been helpful with several of my issues. Now they've been helpful with other things, but the negative feedback that I had to deal with a couple of weeks ago, you know, I think others probably would have gotten it removed, but concierge would not remove mine. They just removed the words. So I think I have to go all the way to the end of the year with it, and I think I may go ahead and downgrade to the lower level at the end of the year.
Beth, I wouldn't do it for a dare. I made a promise to mom, so I got to keep that. Now, if she doesn't keep her promise to me, then all bets are off.
No, I'm
No?
not dealing with broken noses.
Let's see. The coupon. To do the coupon, you go to,
Manage, no discount manager,
yeah, I'm going to click off the screen there. Hopefully they can still see us, but you click on this other one, you go to marketing, discounts, and then in the top right, you see,
create a discount.
yeah, create a discount, and you click coupon. And from there, you can fill in the information of what you want the coupon to work, whether it's uh,
And you
so,
can choose between picking specific items that you want the coupon for, or you can do role based where, you pick a dollar level or a certain store, but I just do my whole store. So,
no, I have not eaten anything fun lately. Those
well, tonight
crackers were so bad.
we went to a food truck rally tonight at our local Mennonite store, which that was fun. And we all got to go pick the different things, lots of barbecue and pizza and
Seafood, and
seafood but yeah, he's stuck with barbecue tonight.
next time I'm going to get the burger.
I think next time I might get the barbecue.
Bye, Beth.
Let's see.
Holy cow.
Four
Clean that just
Rushtons in
7.
St. Louis. Dang. See, y'all, I want to move to St. Louis. I want to. I'm an Army brat, and then I was in the military. So I'm used to moving. This is the longest I've ever lived anywhere. And I keep telling him, I want to live near a Benz. I keep saying that. I would love to be able to go source every day if I choose. Um, and, have access because it's, it's tough when I have to bring all the bags back here and then I just go through them slowly. I would love to be able to source, and it's just driving me nuts.
Yeah, the rodeo clown thing fit me for a bit, Sandy. I don't have the speed and agility I had back then.
Yeah.
And my bones are more brittle, I'm sure. No more whatnot, though.
No more
Lynx is asking
whatnot.
that.
No.
Not to say we won't do it in the future.
If I had like a bulk buy and I listed what I wanted out of it and I just had a whole bunch of stuff, I might consider doing whatnot or the did bit. I'm on there also, but I haven't done anything on there. I would probably do something like that just to move a lot of stuff that I don't want to list. But right now I like listing on eBay. I've been doing it 26 years. I like it's just part of my everyday, and I like making the bigger money on eBay.
And we don't have a source for small.
Lots of
We don't
stuff.
have for a lot of small stuff. The plush is difficult to sell because of the size of it. It would have to be small plush only because we've sold some bigger stuff and the shipping is a pain
Yeah.
and cuts into your profit
And
quite a bit,
especially you have somebody who buys, 10 of your plush.
which we love.
Yeah.
But then we end up, I think
Losing
one of
money
them,
in the shipping.
we ended up basically not making anything because of the shipping. So we live here because rebels from Southwest Virginia, or your
My
parents,
parents retired. Well, they grew up and then retired in Southwest Virginia. So I moved back here after a divorce, and but I didn't want to be in that small of a town. I wanted, at that point I was a teacher and I wanted to be in a larger school system. I needed to finish my accreditation for the state of Tennessee. So it was just smarter for me to move in this area where I had, different colleges I could have attended. And then I met him and I moved to Greenville.
I came here for a job.
Yeah.
And then now there are so many kids involved that it's complicated. But they're growing up, so at
We're
some point it won't
almost,
matter.
yeah, we're almost all adult kids now. So
Not that they're out of the house, but it's a work in progress. Let's see. Yes,
scared of,
if we ever get up there, basket case mama, I don't know, New Jersey. Last time I went through New Jersey, I stayed in a hotel and they had to push a buzzer to let you in, and the front window was busted because somebody beat it with something. It was a little nerve wracking in there.
yeah, the bins. You know what? As small as I am, I ain't scared of the bins. Not at all. Just get in there, get your position and just go for it. Go for it. I love it.
Honestly, most people at the bins are nice.
Yep.
Some people get a little bumpy. I mean, pretty much every time you're in there, there's somebody that's a little bumpy, but most people are nice. They see you picking stuff up and they'll gather
Start
the same.
passing it to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just most people are just really nice there at the bins.
Hi,
At least the ones we've
Mary.
been to.
Yep.
I'm sure there's some where it's a little more
Well, we've seen
brutal.
a fight. We've
Yeah,
seen one fight.
yeah,
Where
the
was
guy
that? Nashville.
Nashville
Yeah.
over CDs or something.
Yep. What tax software?
We use my reseller Genie to do
The reseller
basically
stuff.
the reseller stuff, collecting all the stuff from eBay and Poshmark and well, not Poshmark anymore, but last year we had Poshmark and Etsy and Mercari. It imports eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari automatically. For Etsy, they're working on that. They may have it done now, but I haven't done any of it this year. Otherwise, I just key the information in because it's not too hard to do that. And then when it's tax time, we use TurboTax Online
Hmm.
and basically transcribe the information from my reseller Genie into uh, TurboTax.
Got junk in our trunk. One of these days, we're going to meet up at your bins. It ain't that far of a drive.
Nope.
Nope.
Hopefully we can get there. Hello, Miss Q. Hello. It was good meeting you too. We
Yes.
ran into her at some yard sales. And well, she was at the meetup, but we ran into her at a yard sale too. There in Nashville a couple weeks back.
Hmm. She's a toy person too. There were a lot of toy people at that reseller meetup. That was kind of fun. We all could share different things that we're looking for.
Got junk in our trunk. It's going to her bins tomorrow.
That's what I just said to her.
Oh, I missed that. See,
Yes.
we should just go. Except I
Yeah,
gotta be
except,
here.
yeah.
I gotta be here for the Stanford test again, the second half. For cross listing, we use List Perfectly,
Hmm. Yeah.
and the Levi issue. I don't know if we ever have an. We thought we
And
had it fixed, but then we're not sure.
yeah, just, I thought I had a fix to it. And then just chatting with a couple of different people, seeing a different posts, I think eBay fixed the Levi issue where, when eBay International started, you cannot ship used Levi's. I don't know if it's new, but you can't ship Levi's to the European Union. And certain people in the eBay International Shipping Program, they were getting suspensions and warnings about having Levi's listed. But I think eBay International has fixed it now where those listings aren't being seen international. And then there is no issue with it being shipped to the European Union. But I still block the European Union um, on my end, just so that I just don't want it to be an accident.
Because Germany's an issue with their
Packaging
recycling
and
packaging
yeah,
law they have.
yeah, we are back on our deck. It is nice here today. You're probably hearing, oh, my neighbor does motorcycles and skateboards, and the
Yeah.
birds are out, and
Our neighbor Clark, he moved here. His uncle was sick, and he moved here from Washington, I think. I think he was in Seattle, and he moved here to help take care of him. And he's like, I don't know
a
if Clark
super
ever. He's like a
genius.
super genius that makes like he used to make speakers for that like custom speakers that were like tens of thousands of dollars for people's homes, and he was experimenting with like quartz crystals and rabbit fur to dampen and all sorts of.
But he
He's really
loves to
smart.
ride motor. He
Yes,
makes skateboards,
makes
electric
skateboards.
skateboards now.
Yep, he does that for like some of the 24-hour races and stuff. And he rides little go-karts and scooters all over the yard. And we have a more open space, so sometimes he comes over and rides around in our yard too.
Rocket City Reseller. Was that Bob and Amanda?
I think so,
I
maybe.
think that was, yeah, we met. If that's who I'm thinking they are. Yeah, we met up with Bob and Amanda at the reseller meetup. Yeah, they do a lot of, was it Whatnot or Didbit?
Whatnot.
I think
Are
Whatnot.
you in Alabama? I think that's them.
I think
Bob
so
and Amanda,
too.
right?
Yeah. How often do you find Russian? I've only found Russian probably twice, but it was never the good ones. Never.
A couple years ago, um, I forgot her name now. From Ohio,
Courtney,
Courtney from
Bolo
Ohio.
Buddies,
Bolo Buddies had a challenge and asked some people, what would you rather find? Gold
or a Russian.
or is that what it was? Gold or Rushton? And Rebel said Rushton. And we left that day or the next day to go to the Nashville Bins and she found a Rushton. Just think if she had said gold. We could be retired.
Yeah, but no. No, but it wasn't one of the good ones. Not the rubber faced. I saw somebody just this in one of the Facebook groups, they found a Russian, but it almost looks like this alien monster looking creature, but not the rubber face either. And that's what I tend to find.
Yeah, the Rushton are pretty rare.
Yep.
Although did you say find some of the rubber face stuff, but they're not Rushton?
Yeah.
We find them at some of the estate sales and stuff, and they're usually in really bad shape.
Yes. What is your opinion on putting new or new with tag in the title on clothing? See, I don't sell anything as new or new with tag. Nothing. It can have its tags, it can be brand new. I'm going to list it as used,
The only
pre
thing,
owned.
maybe jigsaw puzzles or something. That way they
Yeah.
know that it's sealed in the box and all that.
Yeah. I don't, yeah. For clothing though, in fact, I've listed stuff this morning that I put unused as my description of them because of the Veros. And I've heard other eBayers, especially large clothing sellers, say they do the same thing. They will never list a clothing item as new.
There's too many. Yeah, some of the when we sold on Amazon, we had a lot of brands that would tell Amazon that our stuff was counterfeit or fake.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, we bought it all from Walmart usually or Ollie's or something like that, but pretty much everything we bought, 95% of it or 99% was from Walmart. So it was the real thing unless Walmart was getting fake stuff. But the brands would hire these
Lawyers.
shady law firms that would come in, and if you weren't on their approved seller list, then they would just mark you as fake without ever checking to see if your stuff was fake or not. And they would do the same thing on eBay,
And
without a
I
doubt.
think there's certain companies that are doing that, that do that on eBay also.
Blue Moose best flip was a $4 Pyrex for $913. It's an unsold pattern. That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah. I actually have a brand video
Oh,
getting started. So, yeah, I'm going to be putting out more. I keep saying I'm going to do them more often, and then it ends up being not as often as I would like. But yes, I have one in the queue. I mean, I got to make it, but I already know what my next brand is going to be.
that's the case Mama said. She found a Rushton the first time she went looking for stuff, but didn't buy it because she didn't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just don't know.
And you know what? There was a time in the beginning when I was sourcing, you know, 20 years ago. If I had seen, I didn't pick up vintage stuff back then. And, I probably would have passed on one too, because it just wasn't the thing that I loved as much as I love them now. Yeah.
All right. Let me get to some of these free questions that came in. All right. Smart. I have to put the glasses on. Smart, thrifty, and chic. What got you started selling toys?
You know what? I used to take my boys, my three youngest. We would go yard selling on the weekends just to get out, let them look for some toys, get out of the house because back then I was a stay-at-home mom. And I'd started noticing things. And, I had just gotten into eBay and I started noticing toys and I would look them up on eBay and see that I could make lots of money. Toys are so cheap to pick up at usually at yard sales and thrift stores. And it just kind of blew up from there. I would take the boys and they could buy stuff. And then I had a friend introduce me to the bins in Asheville and to thrift stores, and it just exploded from that point on.
See, next on that one was, what's your favorite thing to source? Well, that was, you said plush, right? Vintage
Yeah,
plush.
vintage push.
Uh, what's your favorite thing to list? What's easy? What's easy? What? Well, I don't.
Flush are easy to list. That's the thing. You know, I take a picture of the front and I'll take a picture of the face and then I just flip. Take a picture, flip, take a picture, flip, take a picture of the bottom, take a picture of the tag. It's like 7 photos usually. Toys are so fast. And then, bag them and put them away. So I love plush
What's your least favorite thing to list?
dishes
And
and
just
breakables.
because they're fragile.
Yeah, and just annoying. And you list 2 plates, and one might have a little bit of a smudge on it, and you just you're going to get that buyer that says, "But you didn't say that this other plate had 3 scratches on it, where the other one only had 2 scratches on it." And
It's an
just
$8 plate.
I
Just
know.
eat off of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
one of my neutrals is because the grass the gold trim had more wear than they were expecting. But I said in the description it has scratches and the gold rim has wear. So dishes are just
Yeah, and we've bought one set of dishes this year, I think, like plates and stuff.
mm-hmm.
They're just too much hassle,
Yeah,
too much. And we've bought fewer of the food processors and stuff this year because they've just been too dirty.
yeah,
We learned that even though we have good intentions, they sit too long on the shelf and just stare at you and make you feel bad about yourself. So it's easier just to not buy them.
yeah. How do you manage your day from time in the search to video to list to put up this SKU?
All right. So the easy thing is that Rebel tells me what to do.
Yep.
So that's how my time gets managed.
Yeah. I just, I have a set schedule. I'm I like my day to be consistent. I get up really early and I list for probably an hour or two, and I do my time, my just end and sell similar, sending out offers, doing some cross listing, but it's usually about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Drink my coffee, and then I go out to the building, and usually he does the pulling and shipping, and I might help him some with the shipping. And then I just start taking pictures and getting everything in my spreadsheets. And then, depending on how I'm feeling that day, whether I leave at 2 or at 4, I walk over and come home. And that's just how I like my day. So, but it's just, I treat it as a job.
You got to treat it as a job. And I tend to get distracted. I'm very distractible. So
Squirrel.
she has to keep me focused.
I keep lists. And I'll say, okay, today this needs to get done, this needs to get done, this needs to get done. And then throughout the day, I'm like, did you do this? Did you do that?
Because she focuses on eBay.
He does
I
everything
cook and
else.
I sweep and mop and clean and do laundry and all that.
Run the kids
If the kid
around
needs to go, it's like Janiyah, I got to pick Janiyah up at work or take her to work if it's outside of that time that Daniel can do it and
and
just
mow. We
mow and
live on 4 acres, so the mowing is a chore.
go mow RJ's grandma's yard, just all that sort of stuff, just all that chaos, which is suits me better doing all these random things than putting my head down and just focusing on one thing. And she's really good at the focusing on what she needs to. And by me handling all that, she can do the focus
Yep. And then we source.
and then
We
we
source
source together
together.
because you make me. No,
Yes.
I actually enjoy
He
that.
actually loves. Sometimes I'm like, I just don't feel it. And he's like, come on, let's go.
And sometimes I get told, see, it wasn't worth it. And then other times it's worth it. So
Yeah. Yes, we are sisters separated from birth. Yeah,
yeah, plush is a good investment with
it is. As long as you have the space. A lot of people talk about it takes a lot of space. It does.
some people say clothes, like Little Miss Q clothes are least favorite. I like doing the clothes because they're simple and straightforward to me. The putting them away is easy. They're just all numbered and put in boxes and I can just do it.
Yeah, and we pay somebody to do our pictures for clothes, but I could never give up on the toys. But we do pay somebody, and she does the pictures for me. And I do the easy stuff. I'll do shorts and skirts and bathing suits and stuff like that, but I leave the other stuff to her.
What's going on with my book finding adventures? I'm sourcing, but I
We're
just
not
haven't found them.
finding, yeah.
No, I've just been finding Danielle Steele and James Patterson. James Patterson for $5 a book at a recent yard sale. I mean,
Mm-mm.
they were hardbacks, but I didn't even bother looking because I know the paperbacks usually aren't worth it, but maybe first editions would be worth it. But I just haven't found anything outside of you know, the, s- we'll call them the Beanie Babies of books lately. That's all I found lately with books.
What other types of jobs or careers have we had? I joined the military when I was 17 and I stayed in for 13 years. And then I got out and I went to school to be a special education teacher. I only lasted a few years with that. I did not like the bureaucracy of the education system. And that's also when I kind of really got into eBay and just, I was a stay-at-home mom for a lot of that time and dabbled in uh, eBay. Um, but I worked for the state for a couple of years, hated it. I think once you've been self-employed, it's hard to go back. And I went back because, I wanted health insurance and to be around other people. That was before Robert. I actually met Robert like 2 weeks after I got a state job, um, and had bought a brand new car, which, you know, was just, he taught me all about Dave Ramsey and, all the core financial decisions I had made in a very short period of time.
Now, when she says that I taught her about Dave Ramsey, oh, I can teach. There's that old saying that those that
Teach,
those that
can,
can't teach or something. It's a mean thing about teaching, but I'm good at teaching. I'm just not necessarily good at spending money. So I told her about Dave Ramsey, and then she kept us on the Dave Ramsey track where I would have never been able to do that. So it worked out well.
yes.
Um, my first job, I was a nubber. That was working in the fields at Stark Brothers Nursery, which is a huge nursery in north of St. Louis in Missouri. That like all my family at some point worked there, I think. And I basically it was when we were putting buds off the trees into like the root stock to make it'd be like a generic apple tree, and they would bud in a specific apple, then that would take off, and that's what but my job was not that. That was the high tech job. My job was to crawl and pull weeds and cut the bottom limbs off, so the people behind me that could do the real work could do it easily, and that will convince you that that kind of work is not for you in June, July, and August in Missouri when it's 100 degrees and the humidity is horrible. And so I knew that that wasn't for me. So then I went to college, went to be an accountant, decided that was bad for me, and then uh, became a cop after I started joining the military, backed out at the last minute, became a cop, got tired of dealing with the same people all the time. As in, you go to there for the domestic and you offer the guy a ride home because she doesn't want to press charges. And you want to ride to mama's house? Yeah, me ride to mama's house. It's just over and over with the same people. And then I decided I wanted to go into computers and got a job in inventory so I could squeeze my way into a computer job and did that until I met Rebel. She told me to quit my job and work for her.
Yep.
That's not a friend of mine that used to work for me. He started doing private work and had me quit my job and do a contract for him for really good money because I would have never quit a full-time job to resell, but I did because of the really good money. It was making like 75 bucks an hour in 2013
Hmm.
or 2012 or whatever it was. Crazy good money for here. And then that ended and let's homeschool and sell on eBay and Amazon. So that worked out.
Yep.
Worked out really well for us.
How much do we pay for clothing lister? She
I
doesn't
go,
list. She only takes my pictures.
right. Only paid. They get they get a basket or they actually get IKEA bags with like a pair of jeans folded up with a numbered bag in it. They take the bag out, take a picture of bag. They put the jeans up, pop, 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 all the pictures, put the jeans in the bag and seal it. And it's $1 for basic
Yep.
stuff. And
Yep.
RJ does some of that for us too.
Yep.
But he doesn't do very much at all. Um, so a dollar each. Now, if you live somewhere, let's say New York City or
Or
something like
LA, you're
LA,
you're gonna pay more.
yeah, because I asked around in a couple Facebook groups what people were paying, and then we suggested based on what I was hearing, we would try a dollar, and then they took it, did it for the dollar, and they said, "Yep, that comes out to a good hourly rate for them," and they were happy with it.
Yep. Yep.
No, we don't get many views when we list action figures and a variation. We have better luck just listing each listing thoughts. We don't do any
I don't
variation.
do, I've never done a variation. It just, I think you're going to always get that buyer who thinks they're getting everything in the picture, even though they chose just the one thing. That's why, I don't ever have anything extra in a picture either, because, you just, it confuses buyers, especially people who just are kind of new to the online reselling
You know,
or buying.
fewer yard sales. There seem to be early on fewer yard sales this year. Right now, it seems to be normal, wouldn't you think? Maybe a little less.
Maybe a
It's
little
definitely not
less.
more, but there's definitely more people at the yard sales for sure.
Yeah. And then hardly any subdivision sales around here. There used to be so many, and it would be a lot of participants. And now you'll see it say subdivision sell, and it'll be you're lucky if you've got 3 people. What is
Look,
the variation? There's some eBay listings that you can, like if you wanted to sell a bunch of little people, you could take one big picture of all of the little people that you're selling. But when you set up the variation, you can say, no, it's just for the purple dinosaur or the whatever, and you only buy one item from that picture. I see it a lot of times with just
the
like,
food processors.
yeah, a lot of stuff like that. And I just, no,
Somebody will list their food processor as a variation, and it's just all the parts being bought individually, even though they're all there together. We have the neighbor's dog over here looking at us. His name's Archie. He runs all over the neighborhood visiting everybody, but isn't exactly friendly.
friendly.
He'll bark at you. But yeah, so you might hear him barking soon.
Yep,
Little Miss Q, that you just got to find someone that's willing to take them. And then if you can source them and have them do the pictures and you do the listing, it works well.
it does. And she's got it down to a, exactly how I like it. The main picture, the tags. She does do use a measuring a yardstick. She does the 3 basic measurements for me, but it's just a matter of sticking that yardstick in there and click, click, click. But yeah, they've been doing it what, maybe 2 years for us.
Has it been that long?
I think so.
At least a year anyway.
Yep, silverware is another good one that I see a lot of times.
All right. What do we use to take pictures of clothes? We have a board. You could use whatever you want. I didn't want it to flex, so I used a piece of 3/4 inch plywood. If I were going to make one again, I'd probably use 1/4 inch plywood with some one before us backing on each side of it to make it much lighter. But it leans at an angle about like that, I would say. And we
Yep.
have a white cloth on this side. It used to be utility cloth. And I want to say the last time we went to Joann Fabrics and got it, you just want something that's
Fleecy,
fleecy, and I think that's what we got. We got like
white fleece.
Arctic Blizzard fleece, and this one is more delicate than the utility cloth. So I'm not using the um because you get specks of stuff on there
Yeah, the
as you
lint
work,
roller.
and then so I don't use the lint roller on it because I think the lint roller would destroy it pretty quickly. But I have a lint gathering device, a fabric cloth, what a fuzzy peeler thingy.
Yeah,
I forget
something.
what it is, but I bought it from Amazon and it works pretty well for getting the fuzz off without destroying the cloth. So that
Yep,
would be my concern with using a lint roller on that. But it's worked out pretty well. And we've never tried to reuse it because it basically just gets over time it gets less and less sticky and your jeans start sliding. And that's when we get rid of it. When the
yeah,
jeans
because
don't
right now,
stick well,
yeah, if we can stick our clothes up there and it doesn't move, perfect.
for for cotton clothes, if you're doing like Under Armour shirts, you're going to need a
Hanger.
hanger for it or
And then
anything like that.
we had an old Pixel 4 phone, and then we've bought another old Pixel 4 phone from eBay, and we just use them to take pictures.
Yeah, when RJ does pictures, rather than him using his phone, he just uses our Pixel 4 phone.
And
And
that way I have access to it and I can download the photos. No, I never use anybody else's listings to list or sell similar. I use my own listings that I have set up exactly how I like them. And I just do sell similar from my own listings. And it doesn't, one minute it can be a toy, the next minute it's a doll, the next minute it's a piece of, you know, appliance. But I use my own listing every single time.
Christy Wilson, yes, a gleaner. That's the exactly what it is. I'm glad you know the name because I could not remember it. Um, and Cheryl Lynn, you know, clothes have been huge for us the last couple years. They have
Big.
really made our sales be more like this instead of like that. With a huge spike in December, November and December, it's been a game changer for steadying our income.
Yeah, but I mean, like with my toys, most of it has been bread and butter. We buy the Aeropostale, the American Eagles, Wranglers, Levi's, because that's what we find in our area. We live in a very rural area. We're not finding, the high-end stuff very often.
No,
So
occasionally, but it's just not very. I mean, if we find 100 pieces of clothing, one or two of them are something other than
the
Wrangler and
normal,
Aeropostale. We
hmm
just don't find it.
no, but they've made a difference in our just income.
Because I see it some days we go out there and it's just, we'll pull 10 or 20 things and, you know, 4 or 8 of them will be clothes.
Yeah. Are we having any success on other platforms? I have tried most of them, many of them. Facebook Marketplace, I did for a little bit and then I quit. Poshmark, I quit this year. Mercari, I quit this year. Bonanza, I just quit because they started charging per listing fee. The only one that I'm still doing is Etsy and of course eBay. And Etsy, the last 4 days I've made one sell a day. I'm not going to complain because usually it's, my vintage stuff is a lot of it is my newer stuff that I've got on there. I wish I sold more on there, but I have about 1,000 listings on there where I have 11,000 on eBay.
And we've talked about it a bit, but the listings on Etsy cost more. But if you're paying the $300 a month fee that we're paying right now on eBay, we're paying per list, not per listing, but there's a cost to those things. It comes out of that $300, and while the Etsy is more, it's not significantly more, maybe
Mm-mm.
double or something, but it's not like you're paying 20 cents and eBay's are free because they're not unless you have like a no
You're
store thing.
right. Do I do local pickup? If somebody sends me a message, which I haven't had one in a long time, I don't automatically put it on there. But if somebody will send me a message and say they'd like to do local pickup, then I will do that.
We live just a few minutes from Walmart, so we just go meet in the corner of the Walmart parking lot, and it's
Hmm.
really easy for us. What's your best-selling plush brand?
That one's hard. I saw Walmart and Sam's. I don't know if I have a best-selling one. I just don't think so.
Yeah, the Gleaner is very useful. I haven't used it for the sweater shaver as much as I've used it for the um, lint,
Fuzz
the
balls.
fuzz, the delinting of stuff because it works pretty well for that. And you don't have to. Rebel really likes the sticky thing, the mainstays rollers from that works awesome for the plush and stuff. But for what I'm using this for, I prefer the Gleaner. But I do, if I'm doing something black, I usually get one of the rollers because it's just too much hassle to get fuzz balls and lint off of black.
What's the best sell you ever made? That would have to be the
Then my eye,
visually yeah, my eye visually impaired thing. We picked up $5 at an estate sale. I had no clue what it was.
I was bored waiting on her. I was done early for
I was
once, and I was
still
just
just kind of looking.
I went through their office area and was like, "What's this thing? Holy cow! It's $2,000 is what this is."
Yeah. It took a few months, but yeah, it sold. Unfortunately, well, they tried to do a return after the 30 days and I declined it and I never heard anything else from them. I just, yeah. But I'm going to tell on him that same day he picked up a few more items from that same estate sale
No,
that were like
s-
200, 400, $600, and they've not been tested yet.
they got left out in the rain.
No, they did not.
Yeah,
They're
they did.
sitting downstairs waiting. Yeah, Jellycat's becoming harder to find. Yeah, I don't find a whole lot of it, but a lot of it has become bread and butter anyway. There's just, you know, a lot of it is out there, and I think a lot of people are looking for it, and I don't see it very often. And when I do, it's just the smaller, you know, I think I just sold like the little white polar bear recently, but it wasn't going to be very much.
Symbols and title listings. Somebody asked why we were using the word inch in our title instead of the symbol, the little quote mark. And we had heard that the Google bot stops parsing the title when it finds a special character like the inch sign or the foot or ampersand or something like that.
Yeah, and it was a few years ago, but I've just not changed it. I still try not to use symbols. Like you'll notice, like first in Maine, I'll put first Maine because I don't think the ampersand is that important anyway. Um, but yeah, I'll use the word inch, and I've just kind of kept using it.
I think we should do a search test with first and main and see what it actually comes up when you
I
either
don't
use
think eBay cares.
eBay doesn't care.
Mm-mm, not at all. There's several like that that I don't even use the characters anymore.
See, Myrtle Jane is not my name. What percent off do you think buyers expect for offers? I read a couple years ago that 15% off was a respectable offer for both parties. Lately, it seems as though buyers expect a minimum of 25% off. I don't consider 25% off reasonable in most cases. I don't mark up items with plans to discount them. I study the comps and choose appropriate and competitive prices based on condition. I send out 10 to 15% offers every day, but I rarely have people accept them.
Yeah. I send out if it's something I've just listed like in the last few months, then I only send out 10% offers. Um, but anything that was listed before last year, I personally send out 20% offers on that. He's the one that gets crazy, and if it's really old, he starts sending out the 30, 40, 50% offers on the old stuff.
It needs to go. But
It
my,
does need to go.
I'm, I've always told her it's a math problem for me. If it's 2 years old, it gets 50%. If it's a year old, it gets 40. 6 months gets 30, and 3 months gets 20. You see the
No,
head shaking.
no.
That's just what. But I tend to forget, and she does. Like I was doing it for a while, and we went on vacation or something, and
And you
or I
got out
went
of
some, and I got out
practice.
of practice, and I just forget most times. But I think changing it up like that maybe just like sparks the algorithm every now and then, or maybe it makes it mad. I don't know.
Yeah. Heck yeah. I would punch him if he did 70 or 80% off.
What do you see when things are 3 years old?
Nope, nope, nope. 50. Yes.
What measurements? This is from Miriam. I What measurements do you use for used jeans considering they shrink? Uh,
I told him it's funny though because yeah, the pants the length
the
shrinks.
inseam.
Yeah, but a lot of times the waist is stretched. So I use in my titles, I tend to keep it with the um whatever's on the tag thing. Sometimes if it's like drastically different, I may say measuring if I've got room, I'll say measuring, 27-inch. Or if it's been hemmed, I'll put the hemmed one, but down in the item specifics, I tend to, especially on the inseam, I'll use the exact one from the measurement, which, that I get that from the photos of because the girl takes pictures for me. But
The photo shows the exact measurement.
yeah, and we put that in all of our listings. Please look at the photos for exact measurements. And I don't get have issues with people returning usually because my measurements are wrong or there's an issue. Usually it's just they just say it doesn't fit or
We
whatever.
we got to return back this week because it didn't fit, but it came back in our original bag, and our original inner poly bag or that we store our clothes in was never opened.
Never even opened it.
They just got it, said it didn't fit, sent it back, which is fine. 'Cause you don't refund their original shipping on that. So
Nope, but they still went on my block list because they wasted my return. So
See, when you send out a coupon, is it public or private?
You can do private ones. Mine is public. It's just, when you go into my store, it'll say, it gives you a title. I think mine is like May toy sale 10 or something like that. And it just it's there. But you can send out, coupons just to previous buyers. And you can have ones that you only send to certain people. So
Three,
yeah,
Teresa Figgy's asking, when you do end and sell similar, does it affect your listings in My Reseller Genie? We don't track our inventory in My Reseller Genie, so it,
nope.
it won't affect us there. And I'm not sure what kind of effect that it would have. I suppose it would affect it, but we don't do that. We do cash basis for our accounting and cash basis for our inventory. We're small enough it works for us, and there's enough wiggle room in the law that allowed for that, and something that changed back in like 2017. So that's how we do it, and it's easier because when we go to the bins and we buy 3 cartloads for $150, we don't have to apply a cost to each of those items. It would just I wouldn't even want to think about doing that. And then when we got rid of it, and then you have to dispose of it and take a loss. That it's too much hassle. If we spend the $150, we take the expense right then.
Do we have resellers we like to watch on YouTube? I do. I like watching Kaylee Elaine. She teaches me lots of stuff about clothes. Trash Pandas, I like. Um, Grams and Pops, they're hilarious. I like to watch them.
I like to watch Got Junk in Our Trunk. I watch their
Yes,
videos,
yes.
and
Bolo Buddies.
TN Pickers. I watch theirs.
Yes. I'm trying to think who
I don't
else.
I don't get to watch a lot, but those are the ones I tend to watch when I do.
Ginger Marvin, because clothes are my weak point. So I like to watch the resellers that are doing clothing. Who's there's a girl. Dang it. She's a realtor also. I can't think of her name. Something Closet, I think. Yeah, I watch a lot, but sometimes it's just it's there for the noise.
It's in the
So
background. She has a second monitor in the shop where she's working, and it plays over there on the second monitor.
that because it's set up poorly, I can't see the pictures. I have to either duck under my little big light thing to see what they're showing me, or I scooch it back, but then I lose the lighting for the things I'm taking pictures. We got to get that part figured out, but I like to have other people's stuff on in the background.
If you're watching, you ain't working. You need to be listening. Lavender Closet.
I've watched Lavender Closet, but that's not the one I was thinking of. I can't think of her name. I feel bad.
I'm usually doing too many scatterbrain things to watch resellers on YouTube, but so it's not very often, but sometimes I do.
Yeah, to this week, I don't even remember his name, but a lot of times the thumbnail catches me, the title catches me, and there was somebody who put out, the best 25 polo shirts to be looking for in the spring. So of course I'm going to watch that because somebody only likes to buy jeans. And I'm
They're
the one,
easy.
yeah, I'm the one left looking through, estate closets and through the bins for the shirts and the polos and the dresses and stuff like that. So I try to, you know, familiarize myself with those types of videos. Common tags, that's the one. Yep, I like watching her too.
Jeans are forgiving. You can't have a nice office shirt with a stain on it, but you can sell jeans with a stain on it
And huge holes,
and huge holes.
obviously.
Yes, absolutely. People will buy that up.
Uh,
Let's see. Christy Marco, can you share how cross listing works in relation to Etsy? Considering getting Etsy store, and but has nothing at this point. Have about 1,500 items on eBay and slowly increasing it. You just cross list, right? From
yeah, I use List Perfectly, but I don't use. I mean, my stuff's in their catalog, but I haven't been keeping it like linked because,
you don't sync it with your end and sell similars.
yeah, not at all. But you know, I'll use, start with my eBay listing and I transfer it over to List Perfectly. The good thing about List Perfectly is you can set up some of the screens where it fills in some of the like when you go to List Perfect, I mean to Etsy, you have to, say you are, so who's the manufacturer of the item? You have to say someone else and what decade is it from? Um, and I have that set up so that Liz perfectly at least fills that part in for me. And then most everything transfers over to List Perfectly, I mean, to Etsy easily. And then all I have to do is go down and click a button that says, this is my shipping rate, and off it goes. But I like Etsy. It's easy to cross list to them. I did a video at some point, but I think it was like a video in a video about cross listing to Etsy. Maybe I'll try to do another one just to show, just the ins and outs of how Etsy works.
Mm. Any of y'all having trouble with Poshmark doing the end and sell similar? Because I've seen
Tons of posts
tons of posts and videos in YouTube. I haven't clicked any of them yet, but lots and lots, like hundreds or thousands of resellers being
suspended.
suspended on Poshmark for doing end and sell similar. And some of them were saying that they sold something on eBay and ended the listing and got a warning.
And then they did it again the same day and they got suspended for 7 days. So there's a lot of, I'm glad I'm out of Poshmark. I didn't want to have to deal with sharing and the offers on there, and just, I'm glad I'm off. But I've seen lots and lots of posts about Poshmark and just the issues they're having right now. It just seems like they do not want large resellers anymore. They just want you know, people selling literally from their own closets.
The blurb I read said on it was like the email you got or had seen or something that that ending and relisting your items would be seen as trying to
Manipulate.
manipulate and boost
Mhm.
your stuff in the algorithm. And I thought, well, if it works, then why shouldn't I do it? I mean, I know you don't want me to, but if you're downgrading me because I've been in there for more than a month, then it makes sense for me to do that because I want to sell my stuff.
Yeah, lots of people. Yeah, I think a lot of us are just, you know, staying with, a couple of platforms. But, eBay's will always be my first. It is the one that has given me the most success in 26 years. It's our primary income. So, you know, it's been good to us. And I figure we'll be doing it for another 10, 15 years.
The Lost Closet, I hope you don't have any issues. So
Yeah.
keep it going. 10 or 15 years. I don't get to retire.
I keep telling you I want to retire, and he keeps saying we have to keep doing this.
Look, I put too much money into Powerball and not enough into 401k. So,
I know. Yeah.
but this is a fun job to have. We could scale it back. Once we're both drawing Social Security and that sort of thing, we will need less money and we could scale this back and, spend more time enjoying life.
Yep.
But honestly,
This is fun.
this is fun. We enjoy it, especially when we get to go somewhere. She says she wants to live closer to the bins, but I'm like, this gives us an excuse to travel and avoid the people in the house.
That are never going to leave.
See, Sandy's dad is 85 and still reselling. See, and basket case mama retired and started doing this.
Yeah.
So you'll have to retire from this and go get a real job.
No. Nope. Nope.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier, working for somebody else.
Mm,
I every now and then I have lunch with a friend of mine that works where I used to work, and I've told him I was like, I could not go back and do that weekly meeting. I would go in one time and say, look, I've got better things to do with my day. If y'all need something specific from me, let me know. I'm going to go to work, and I just couldn't do it. Nope, nope, nope.
yeah. We want to do more traveling, and we've done a whole lot more already in the last 2 years.
Like I've been to Florida for like vacation before, but I'd never been to Florida. And it was vacation going to see Shannon. But it was sourcing too. So, it was vacation, but we were there for sourcing. So remember that. What's your primary reason? Sourcing.
Yes.
Um, that's just the way if you're sourcing and you want to claim the mileage, you need to be sourcing, not vacation. And you could do some of both, but your primary reason needs to be sourcing. And then you could claim at least some of that as a business expense.
Hmm.
But don't take a tax advice from me because
You're not
I dropped my accounting major in college, and I never passed. I did pass the tax class, did not like it. Uh, but go watch Mark Two.
too.
I can't remember how you said Mark, not your dad's CPA. He'll tell you all about the tax stuff, and he has a tax academy, a reseller tax academy. I
We
bought it
love it.
and watched the videos, and it maybe change a couple things or rethink a couple things, but it's really good. It'll be if you are doing this as a business, it was like $200 or $300. It's well worth the time to go through it, the money and the time to go through it, especially if you're doing your own taxes for the most part. Because even if you are doing everything right, it made sure that I knew that I was doing thing right because I don't want to be audited. But if I am audited, I know that I'm doing it right. And all I got to do is show the IRS what I'm doing and why. And then they'll be like, oh, okay, we'll leave you alone now.
Yep.
Like with um, office space, was the home office space? Um, every year in TurboTax, it tells us that, whoa, your home office deduction, your square footage is really out of line for most places because we're at like 39% of our space is business. But if you get audited, from what I understand, they just send you a letter, ask a few questions, and explain these three things. And I just have to go take pictures of our inventory and say, we're resellers. This is all of our inventory, and this is why it's 39% of our space. And they would be fine with that.
Yep. Yeah. Let's see. All right. Haley. I don't like to send out offers because it looks like I'm desperate. I know it sounds corny, but I squirm with that. People, your buyers expect it. And the person that's looking at your listing, if you send them that offer right after they've looked at your listing, it might just be that thing that makes them buy your item. Send a 10% offer.
Yep.
You may, I'd rather sell it for 10% less than my listed than hold on to it, for another 3 months or 6 months, or in my case, 10 years.
Hello, TC's Treasures. Glad to see you tonight.
Yes. Long Island, New York.
Cheryl Lynn, it can happen.
Yep.
Full time reselling. It just, you got to get to the point that, that your income from reselling, you could see that spending more hours on that will make up for enough of the full time income that you have. One thing you're going to have to consider is do a better job with retirement than we did
Yes.
and uh, have a plan for buying insurance either through a local agency or through a spouse's employment or through the old healthcare.gov website. You got to really should have some health insurance in case something goes wrong.
Yep. And if you're wanting to get into a situation where you can do full time and reselling and quit your day job, get your expenses under control. You
Yes.
know, we followed the Dave Ramsey thing, get that car payment gone, you know, put down all of your other expenses, try to, get it to a point where you know that you can make enough to pay your bills every single month.
Hello, Kelly Davis. Glad you were able to make it tonight. So, Rebel mentioned the expenses. She bought this house in December 2011, 30-year note, so it should be paid off in 2049. Is that really true? 20
30
or
years, 41.
2041. So 2041. But because she followed the pay everything I can on it and scrimped and we could have lived more extravagantly, but we didn't pay we pay for like Netflix or whatever. But we don't have all the cable TV channels. We
We
don't
don't
buy
have
new
new
cars.
cars.
We don't take extravagant vacations. And she paid it off in 2023, so 17 years early, 18 years early. So um, and the last bit of that, she's old, so she was able to take some out of the. You pulled what 50 out of a Roth IRA because it wouldn't affect our income because it was a Roth. So the last 50 came out of a Roth IRA. So the mortgage is gone, and it
It-
would have been gone. It probably wouldn't. It'd be gone another year. So
yeah,
it would have been paid off in half the time because of living tight. Now we have the freedom to do more than
because we don't have that
yeah,
mortgage.
what's the old live like nobody else so later you can live like nobody else or something like
Hmm.
that. So we're
Yep.
free to do stuff now that we normally wouldn't be. We're not tied down. We're tied down to a truck payment because we had a transmission go out on our pilot, but
And that'll
that's
be
it.
paid off. this year.
Yep, should be done by the end of this year, if not maybe a month into next year, but hopefully this year.
Yeah, buyers definitely. Sandy said buyers know to watch items to get an offer. That is very true. So, add 10% to your price and then send a 10% offer out.
See, Best Kate's mama's beach bins and 10 thrift stores in 30 minutes of her.
Yeah, that's what I wish. I
Wish.
wish.
Yep. And honestly, you have to think like a guy. If he's never going to get a date if he doesn't ask a girl out, and if he's asking her out, he seems desperate. It's kind of the same thing. You just got to get over being desperate. Send the offer.
Send the offer.
Send the offer.
Yes. Be the kind of seller
Oh,
you want to buy from. So if you look for coupon sales, stores that accept offers, then do that for your potential buyers. Definitely. Accept returns. You know, just do the things that you know are going to make your buyers, your potential buyers, comfortable, and then just have amazing feedback.
let's see, Cheryl Lynn, we're talking insurance. So spouse doing insurance to a spouse. She has no spouse. So no spouse, no insurance, but no nagging either. So
And like for us, I have a VA. I'm a VA veteran, so I have my insurance through the VA. Good, bad, or ugly. That's where I get my insurance. So we have to use the healthcare.gov for him. And it's manageable. It's
it is.
doable.
It is. Hello, vaping links. Welcome from Ohio. Or as I end up coming out of my mouth sometimes, Ohio.
Ohio, like Missouri.
Yep, that's just how it comes out sometimes. See if we have any more questions in here. Thought we
Yep.
did.
I'm gonna go check the Facebook group real quick.
Let's see.
Any more questions? Because we're about an hour and a half in.
Got a text from mom. So maybe she'll watch this. So if you're there, hi mom. Well, just like the football players back in the day. Um,
And see, look, you got to read that. Rebel doesn't nag; she inspires. I inspire you to do greatness.
inspire me not to hear the nagging so I get it done.
That's why he put me over in the building.
So, yeah, so it wouldn't be so loud. I think that's all the questions we had on here. Um, Bonanza. Yeah, we talked about Bonanza a little bit with their new fees and whatnot.
Yep. I was trying to see if there's any questions in the Facebook group, but I think I forgot to
You never even posted
I
it, did
didn't
you?
pin.
There you go.
Yeah, no
No
questions.
questions. Because she was going to post a thing in the Facebook group earlier today, but I needed to make I said, hey, I need to make a thumbnail first. And then I forgot about it until like 5 o'clock.
Yeah, right
And at
before.
this point, it was too late because then I needed to, hey, let's do this outside. So let's run the internet cable outside and get an extension cord for the electricity. And
Do we play any games? We do puzzles a lot. That is our thing, but we play games on our phone. It's like our end of the day thing where we have several games that we play every single night.
are you bored?
No,
Every single night.
no, but I'm just saying it's part of our evening. Turn your mind off and get, ready, get out of that thought.
We play one it's called Wordy. It's like
Forty.
the Wordle that everybody plays, except this one has you're trying to do four words at the same time. So every guess is four word is your
We like word games.
and then we have one called Type Shift. That one's kind of interesting. See if I
Yep.
can bring up a game here. So this is going to be that's kind of a poor choice. We'll just do this one. This one only has five words on it or five letters long, but you have to spin that dial to make a
Make
word, make
words.
words out of. You have to use up all the letters, and you could reuse the letters, but sometimes the words are like 7 or 8 letters long, so makes it a little more challenging sometimes. If,
Yep.
and then we have what's the new one we got it. We got in
We just
here.
started a new one.
Everyday puzzles. I
Yep.
like this one because it's got a bunch of different puzzles. Um, go back home. It has a
Yeah.
we love word puzzles. So we do the everyday puzzles. It's got a bunch of different word puzzles and Sudoku and stuff like that on there.
Yep. Susan said, offers don't work for me. People like that have the same item. Watch to see what mine will sell for mostly. There is a lot of other people looking at your listings just to, check comps, check titles, that type of stuff. But there are a lot of buyers also. I mean, I sell quite a bit of stuff through offers. So I wouldn't say that they don't work, but I think I'm having better luck with just the 10% off coupon.
See, in this together, real world Christian living, been watching whatnot, but it seems intimidating. Yeah, it can be tough if you're going to sell on there. It was different for us, and we're more of the list it on eBay and not quite list it and forget it, but list it and not have to just do the constant talking and getting things done real quick like it was on whatnot. But we might do it again. But it's some people love it and they could sell a ton of stuff on there and make good money, and other people don't really like it. Um, I'm hoping I don't step on anybody's toes that does whatnot. But when I've gone on there to look at stuff, the ones that drove me crazy are the ones where they had a pile of stuff and they were talking about it and waiting for people to ask what they wanted to put up to sell next. And there's no way I could do a sell like that. I just couldn't.
No, we were it took us 8 hours to get ready for a show. So it was a lot of not eBay working to, do whatnot.
Christy, you're right. Some of those word games have a lot of ads in them, and like after every game or something like that. The one that I've been playing a lot of, that Everyday Puzzles, I actually paid for that one because I enjoyed so many of the different games in there. I actually bought the full version of it just to get rid of the ads.
Yeah.
What about how to tackle
Barbie's
lots of
clothes.
Barbies?
Hey, I just recently went through a large lot of Barbie stuff and it's tedious. Like Google Lens, and then I would, figure out what the name of it was based on the Google Lens search, and then go into eBay and start looking through the listings to see if I had other pieces to go with it. Um, but and then I got to a point where, I couldn't identify a lot of it because not all Barbie clothes have tags. So then I would just go ahead and make small lots and think to myself, let's make a 1999, valued lot, or what I perceive to be the value, and just make lots like that. But it's definitely worth Google lensing every single piece, because some of them, I've sold single pieces for 15, $20, where if I had thrown them in a lot of other stuff, but sometimes it's easier just to make the big lots and be done with it.
Get rid of a bunch of stuff at
Yeah,
once.
I've done that too. Just depends on how much effort I want to put into it.
We did the Barbie clothes on whatnot, and there was one that had the bow tie
A
for
bow
Kim,
tie.
a bow tie that I can't remember. It went for like $20 or something for that lot, and the lady that bought it said the tie sells for like $70,
Yeah.
just the tie.
So
So
it's
some of that stuff is worth a lot of
definitely
money.
worth going through.
Let's see, Wild at Heart push on. End of the day, play the games. Yep, it's good for
Yep.
the brain, I think.
I love Sudoku also. I have Sudoku on my phone, and crossword puzzles.
He says she needs practice on Sudoku.
I'm not good with Sudoku. He's taught me a whole lot about the different strategies. So watch some videos, but I never realized that there's actual strategies that you have to go through to fill it in. And I've gotten to the point where I don't really have to do the numbers in the little cubes anymore. I can just go through the strategies that he teaches me to to get them solved.
Got Junk in Our Trunk likes to play Mahjong. I haven't played that in forever.
Me either.
Should find
I
one of
like
those.
it. Yeah.
My thrifted house. I stumbled across your videos right after Peaches to Beaches and have been an active follower since. Oh, glad you're watching them.
Thank you.
Glad you're learning something. We we were at what was when we were in Nashville. Somebody said that they they started reselling plush or reselling because they found our videos. It's always nice to hear that
Hmm.
that we make some money doing. We're not getting rich on YouTube by any means. But it's nice to know that what we're doing and we're making a lot of money, but we're helping other people actually make money. I'm assuming that based on from what we've heard, people have made more money from our YouTube videos than we will ever make from our YouTube videos.
Hmm.
They start selling, they find about one toy, or they start selling plush when they've always passed it over, or mixer parts or whatever. It's nice to hear that that what we do is helping people. It makes it a lot more fun to do, knowing that we're a benefit to somebody.
Yep.
That I'm not useless.
All right. See. Yeah, whatnot is good if you've got just a lot of stuff you want to move. But yeah, like Wild at Heart said, Barbies are so worth it. We sold 2 pairs of shoes for 20.
Yep. They can, if you could find it cheap. We were at a, where was I? I was somewhere recently and I had to send you a picture because you were waiting. I think you didn't want to get out the sale because you thought it was terrible. Was
Mm.
that it?
Oh, yes. Oh, no. Yeah, it was that one.
Oh,
I had already told you I wasn't getting out.
oh yeah, yeah.
We have an infamous yard sale, and I kept telling him, don't go there because it's not a good situation to get cornered
It's
in.
some very aggressive religious people,
Yes,
and
they use the yard sale to try to convert you.
yeah, they're
And
they're pretty aggressive about it. And she had been before and with your sister and
and
left,
yes,
and yeah, and then people were posting on one of the Facebook groups, local Facebook groups, about some of the invasive questions they were asking people. And
yes,
when I realized that we stopped there, and she realized she left before she really got into it, and I saw stuff I wanted to look at, so I pretended I was talking on my phone and left. But you know, we're Christians. We believe, and if somebody wants to hear about God, I'm happy to tell them about him. But I'm not going to
corner
invasively
you.
corner people to do that. That's not our style at all. Not afraid to say I love Jesus, but I'm not gonna uh, beat you over the head with him either.
Yeah, I did a video on Douglas a couple of years ago, and there are some really high dollar Douglas plush. A lot of them are the larger ones. I don't find them very often around here. Um, but for the most part, the Douglas that I find are the small ones, and they're basically bread and butter with a few exceptions. Thank you, Christy.
So I'm wondering about all those, like the Aurora. You've been putting some of them together.
Mm-hmm.
Have we been selling any of those yet?
No.
Not yet. Because I know that putting the little people in lots has been huge.
Yeah.
Probably not making as much. I'd say that we're not making as much money per little people if you did them like in ones and twos, but they're actually
They're
selling a lot
moving.
faster and
Yeah.
they're going away. So we're actually making more money on them that way.
Yeah. But yeah, I like Douglas, but unless it's the really large ones, and I may redo some of my older videos because, like, things change. So I may do some different do the same brands again to see what's selling currently at high dollars.
So for traveling this year, we
Mm,
are we're going to try to make it to Florida.
yes.
No, we're going to make it to Florida at
Yes,
some
we're
point.
making it to
Maybe sooner
Florida.
rather than later, or later rather than what? Maybe later rather than sooner. We're going to be in Missouri at some point. RJ and I may be taking a quick trip to Missouri, just like to pick up some stuff and see my parents for a couple of days. But Rebel might not get back there until June or July. We're going to try to do the 127 in August. We
Mhm.
will do. It's from like Alabama to Michigan, but we will do it in the Crossville, Tennessee area. Um, and going to make it
We're going to
to
get up to Rochester.
Rochester later this year.
Yep.
Not sure about the route we would take would go up through West Virginia and uh, Pittsburgh, up through that way. But that doesn't mean that we got to take the same route up as we take back.
Right.
You know,
We
there may
didn't
be
last year.
no. Last time we took a different route, so um, we would maybe take a different route just to see different stuff or hit different stores along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Archie,
Yep.
neighbor dog came back. He's sniffing but not barking this time, which is good. That's a long time. She's almost a whole century old. Good for her.
Very nice. Yep. Hopefully we're going to be in Florida soon. Soon.
All right, y'all. We are about done with this.
Yep.
If you have any questions, as always, leave them in the comments of our video and we will try to get to them, although sometimes they get buried and I forget to bring them back up.
Yep.
But thank you for being with us.
Yep. Good night. Look at that face.